Well, welcome to Show, the Your New Thing podcast. I might get the guest that I am just amazed at. I've been watching video after video of what he does for stroke survivors. I'm going to call him the other Dr. Phil. He's an OT, he's a CEO of Rise, and I'm going to bring my camera, let him introduce himself. If you want to see some lives transformed, I'm talking about stroke survivors' lives transformed. He is the OT that can do it. So let me bring on my camera. Hey, Dr. Phil.
Hey, how's it going?
It's really good. I'm sure glad to have you. Could you please officially give your kind of your introduction? Because I can't give the honor to me.
Of course. My name is Phil. I have been an occupational therapist for 10 years. I actually started my career working in pediatrics, so with kids, and then I got the opportunity to work in an inpatient neuro rehab and fell in love with it. And since then, I have spent almost every waking moment that I can working on figuring out ways that I can try to help stroke survivors, traumatic brain injury, spinal cord injury, the neuro population actually reach where they want to go. And I have spent the last year and a half ish working on starting my own business, where I go all over the country working with stroke survivors has been the main group that I've worked with, and helping them increase their abilities in a really short period of time by using an intervention called high intensity training, which is unique, specific, and it's backed by a lot of science, and it gets change really quickly.
Yeah, I've watched your YouTube channel, which everybody individual watches after on the replay. I'll put all Dr. Phillips' links in the description of our podcast. So you need to go subscribe to his YouTube channel, and that would be a big help for him, and that'd be a big help for all of us. But you also live on TikTok. I met you on TikTok. But what you do is transforming lives through this high intensity training. And I'm going to ask you, we were talking to green room earlier, that went through the stroke survivor mill. I was treated like everybody else. And maybe can be, very mild therapies, but then I watch your work. And I'm blown away. I'm going, this guy put people like me in situations that where we want to go, but we just didn't think we could go. I watch you perform that. So tell me, what does HIT do? Why does it work so well?
Yeah, so excuse me. So high intensity training uses a couple of natural whoops. I gotta do this
Hey,
twice.
you gotta get that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
I'll
maybe.
get you gotta go slower. There you go.
So high intensity training.
Oh,
Oh
you're
man.
not
Let's
that
see if
slower.
it does it. That's weird.
There,
Apologize,
there it
folks, guys.
goes. There you
There
go.
it is. I had to
That's
go
it.
slower.
Ah,
I
that's
had to go
it. Yeah,
slower.
slower. Yeah.
So, okay, so high intensity training uses some scientific principles, and it comes down to a couple of different things. Number one, your brain can change, right? The term that most people have heard is neuroplasticity. It's something that no matter where we are, our brain is always able and capable and trying to change. Number two is that in order for it to change, you need to give a lot of effort. If you give effort, change can happen. How that is measured in high intensity training is by your heart rate and getting your heart rate up. And then when your heart rate goes up, your body makes a chemical or a protein that's called brain derived neurotrophic factor. But the easiest thing, BDNF.
I've heard of it.
And it is a protein that I like to explain it as it's like the oil to your nervous system. So if you get your heart rate up, your body makes this BDNF. And then as you are putting in the effort, the connection from your brain to your body is made much easier. And it ends up being something that sticks around for a lot longer if you use some particular strategies. And those strategies are you have to have error. So you have to make mistakes. You can't do it by being perfect. You have to make mistakes. And then the second is that you have to do a lot of practice. So right now, the evidence is that a minimum of 1,000 steps a day if you want to improve in your walking. Other than that, you're going to hit a plateau. And so when you combine all that together, you get some pretty cool change. And then I change it up in a little bit where I do it and I take it to you in your environment, in your life.
That's really a key point. Did you hear what Dr. Phillips said? He will come to you anywhere in the U.S. You have to cover the expenses, of course. And he has fees for that. And you start to, again, put the content in there. But he will come to you, your home, use your inclines, I'm assuming your playgrounds, whatever steps, whatever, and you will turn those into our gym. And my God, I'm gonna step back just a little bit because number one, neuroplasticity is not currently taught in rehab, but at least it wasn't for me. I mean, they use the word rehabilitation or you're gonna get back, recover. I hate the word recovery. Stroke
Yeah.
TV media, I believe rebuilding is more accurate. I think that if you're rebuilding your life after stroke, you're not going to recover sitting on the couch eating potato chips or watching TV. So I agree, you have to put the effort, but I'm not a big fan of the word recovery. But BDNF, as far as I could tell, as far as the boosters that you're triggering the BDNF, creates brand new brain cells, correct?
So BDNF does a few things. One is it strengthens your nerves, like your neurons is what they're called, but those cells that talk from your brain to your body, it strengthens them, but then it also makes it so that it's easier for your brain to talk from here to the rest of your body. And so the BDNF doesn't make the actual new connections. It makes it so that the connections are easier to be made. So
I
think of it
see.
like this. If, in fact, this week in my podcast, I'm explaining that when you have a stroke and you're trying to regain movement, it's like you go up to this wall of forest and you have an axe. And in typical therapy, you have a really dull axe.
Yeah.
When you start increasing BDNF, it's like you sharpen your axe. And so then it makes it just a little bit easier to cut through the trees and everything else in order to create a new path. And so BDNF is important because it makes it easier. It's not required, but man, it makes it easier.
I'm telling you now, you mentioned your podcast. I found out I didn't in my research on you. By the way, AI knows about you. But uh, tell me a little bit. You mentioning the I just forgot what you said. Good, let me get that to stir is.
No, you're
But
good.
you mentioned just and
So
I forgot.
I was talking about BDNF and neuroplasticity, and I was talking about like a wall of a forest,
Oh yeah,
right?
that was partly it. That they don't teach us about neuroplasticity. Now, here's the truth: there is no limit, age limit to neuro. I'm 16 years post stroke. Can I still, do I still hope?
100%. There's a couple of things that are kind of like, we'll call them blanket statements, but it's a statement that's made that the scientific community believes. And if you don't dive into it, then you just kind of believe it, but you don't really understand why it's said. So one of those things is that the older you get, the less the less easy it is to make connections. Now, that just makes sense because as you get older, your cells start to break down just a little bit more. However, there's a couple of things that also could be contributing to that. And that is, the older we get, the less active we tend to get. And the less active you get, the less you get BDNF to strengthen those neurons, those neuron cells, or the less you actually are trying to make new connections. And so a big piece of it is that you can get change no matter where you're at in your process, no matter how old you are. Sometimes it just may take a little bit longer, but that doesn't mean you can't. And I think that's huge, because what most people believe is that there's a plateau, right? That you're not going to get better after a year, after 6 months, which is the biggest bunch of bull crap that exists.
Right? As wives killed my insurance for any type of therapy 10 years ago. And it was because that wasn't a plateaued.
Right. And so the question is, why do you plateau? And I think that's a big piece, and that is, I believe that the reason why a majority of stroke survivors plateau is because what they do is they don't actually get challenged enough. So what happens is, if your challenge is shorter or less difficult, then your brain and your body are not going to try to make more connections. And so it ends up being this thing that in therapy, because we're, in therapy in general, let's do things, less, with less effort. They're not that difficult. They don't take a lot of energy. And we don't actually get a lot of repetitions. Well, no wonder there's a plateau that happens, because we don't actually push the boundaries. Like,
Yeah,
it's that whole
they
thing of
actually are
like,
they're creating it, correct? They're creating the plateau.
yes, they
Really?
are.
Yeah.
And also, if you think about it, the people who really get farther than what people thought they could get, it really comes down to that person did more on their own, away from therapy, at home, in their environment, in their community. And it's because they challenged themselves. And so that's one of those things that just always bothered me about what I was doing early on, because I fell into that category of, therapists that was making my survivors and clients that I was working with work slowly, don't make mistake. And I fell into that category
Right.
until I learned about all of this.
Until we learned about Rise and started in Rise, which I'm just so amazed at what you're so. See someone like not walking or even me, you come to the house, you bring us through the training, the intensive training. I'm curious, how many hours a day does a person go through boot camp? How many hours a day?
So on average, it ends up being around 5 hours a day is what I
Wow.
do with people. Yeah, I do like 2.5 hours in the morning and then 2.5 hours in the afternoon. And the goal of it is to get as long as we can in the zone that we're trying to get into with effort and with the heart rate, so that we create more BDNF, but also we just get as many repetitions as we possibly can. And so I the most I've done with somebody in the day is around 8.5 hours. Um, and it's just we're just going, we're moving, we're taking steps, we're going up and down stairs, we're going in the community, you name it. I've taken a stroke survivor behind a boat and helped him get back to getting on a surfboard
I
behind the
saw
boat.
that. I saw that video. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
I would have the wakeboard, so I can't wait someday.
well, it's been really cool to find every single person that I work with to try to find what their passion is, who they are, and what they want to feel again, which is who they are, their identity. They want to feel that again. And I love being able to help them actually start on that process to feel like themselves again. And I think okay, so I'm going to take a little detour if that's
Yeah,
okay.
good.
Okay, so there's this concept in occupational therapy, this theory, and it's that we as human beings in our lives, we go through this process called occupational genesis. We don't have to remember that name, but what we have to remember is that there's this process that we go through in order to become who we are. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen, even it doesn't even happen over a couple years. It happens over a lifetime. And every single time something happens to us, we have to adjust and change how we see ourselves and how our identity is developed. For example, I played a lot of pickleball. I played it competitively. I played at the pro level, the low pro level, and and ended up having my fourth child. Okay, having my fourth child, one of the most beautiful things in the world. She's amazing. It's positive. It's a positive thing. I could not do the same things that I was doing before because of now this change. So then who I saw myself as and how I valued myself, that changed. And I had to go through this process of relearning again me. And so no matter what happens, just in general in life, a rule is that we have to relearn us. So this is one of the things I really don't like about, recovery and how everybody says it, is that I want to get back to who I was. Well, the reality is you're not. You can't. You can never get back to who you were because you've experienced something big. It doesn't matter if you got all your movement back, if you got all your thinking back, you are no longer the same person because now you just went through this experience. And so now what it is this: you have to learn to love the journey. And the journey of struggle, the journey of sucking at what you're doing, and the journey of mistake, which is not fun
It's not.
unless you learn to love that process. And that, if you want to talk about like what is one of the biggest things that I bring to stroke survivors in a boot camp, that is one of the things I try to just bring to every single one, that there's this love of the journey, the love of like you're going to make mistakes, you're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, and you're just discovering you. And when you can get into that mode, you start to develop you again.
Yeah. I think probably the biggest thing I don't like is that stroke survivor becomes a person's identity.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you out there watching this on the replay, stroke is what happened to you. Your identity is formed by how you respond. How you respond tells me or tells Phil or tells anybody around you who you are. So do not let stroke become your identity. It's not you. Stroke is how you respond is you. That's you. And Doc, you did said something. I really didn't want I got so much to talk about it. just a little time. But tell me a little about your podcast. When is it there? Where do we hear it? Where do we see it? Whatever.
Yeah, so my podcast is called Stroke Survivor Boot Camp with Dr. Phil. And the goal of this podcast is for me to be able to provide you with strategies, ways of looking at your stroke, and knowing how to more or less uh, get to where you want to go in faster, better, more efficient ways. So, episode one is I go through, okay, you've just found out that you've had a stroke and you now find yourself in the hospital. And I just go through and I just explain. I just explain what is going on. Like, what do you see? Why are what are these different places? Why is this happening? What is the ICU? What is the medical floor? Why are you finding yourself there? Why am I only getting a small amount of therapy here? What's the next step? What can I do to make sure that I get the best next step? And when you go through that stuff, right? And when you actually, if you know the best way to manage that, oh man, like you can give yourself a leg up. So the first 4 episodes are essentially that journey. I'm now
Where
going into
where can we see this? I'll
oh
put the links
yeah.
in it.
So you can access this on all major podcast platforms. So iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube. You can get it there. I mean, there's even some platforms I didn't even know existed that it's on. So if you just go into Apple Podcast, you go into Spotify, any of these, just type in Stroke Survivor Boot Camp, it'll come up.
All right, great.
So
Good, great.
it's the now I'm going into this journey, with is okay. So now it's what is neuroplasticity? That's the one that's coming out today.
Really great.
Uh-huh. And then next week I'm focusing on BDNF. I'm going into BDNF, what it is,
Great.
and just trying to explain so that you can understand the principles, the things that so you can know what you need to do in order to take advantage of your time, because I'm just done with people feeling like they have to wait to get better. That is the biggest lie that exists in stroke survivor recovery, is that you
Yeah.
have to wait to heal. You know what? Day 3 of somebody that has just had a stroke, I'm taking them up and down 114 stairs.
Oh my goodness.
Like, and it doesn't matter if they can stand on their own or not. Like, I've had people that are if I tried to get them even to sit on their own, they're falling over. Yet I'm
That's
taking
how
them up
one would be.
114 stairs.
Yeah. Mm.
And you don't have to wait. And if you do wait, it ends up being even harder to get yourself motivated to start stepping, to start going.
Well, Phil, I'm going to tell you from dog. I'm going to tell you, I've been told I was going to recover from stroke.
Correct.
Now, when I have a cold or a broken bone or a flu or something, I recover. I don't have to do anything.
Correct.
So that's why I say recovery's not well, I know what they've been trying to say, but so TV media, which I'm a founder of, really the word rebuilding is accurate. If I get out of that work with you, I'm rebuilding the neural pathways, rebuilding new ones around it. I mean, I'm rebuilding it. So I think the biggest kind of deflator of hope as a stroke survivor is being told to recover when I don't.
And I think rebuilding is a good word. I think taking that word another level is I'm discovering.
Ooh.
Because I love that part. I love that way of thinking about it, because the whole idea is that you are just rediscovering you and discovering what you're capable of. And so, for example, maybe before your stroke, your coping mechanism was to I don't know, to smoke. Your coping mechanism was to drink. Your coping mechanism was to run away,
Yes,
like
I'm the first two.
emotionally, right? And now maybe you're not able to do those. And so it's like, okay, how are you going to how are you going to cope? How are you going to discover, like, how are you going to have the ability to keep moving? And that's one of the things that you discover. You learn that about you. So I love the word discover.
I get meant that's a new word for me. So I think that feeling of hopelessness, where I think it's wrong to help you for anybody in the medical community to put inside me that I'm going to be the same person I was before. So that's never ever going to happen. And we're
No.
not being doctors of doom or gloom. The reality is, like Dr. Phil said, we have had a brain assault. We've had a traumatic event occur. So we have to rebuild or rediscover who we were because stroke strips most of us of our identity. So yeah, I can't wait. I'm gonna keep digging into what you're doing. I really appreciate it. So how does someone get a hold of you wants to contact you and find out more about what you do? How
Yeah,
they
one of the best ways is to go to strokesurvivorbootcamp.com. That's going to be one of the best ways to get a hold of me. And there's a form at the bottom that you can fill out and it'll shoot an email to me and I'll be able to get in contact with you. Another way is to follow me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and it's the OT professor. And you can reach out to me there. I have people, I mean, just on my phone, just as of last night, I had, another 10 people reaching out, trying to connect with me. And so you can get a hold of me that way. And then what I can do is go through a process of figuring out what it would actually cost to get me out there. Or if there's another opportunity that we can decrease the cost and figure out how to make it more feasible for you to get to work with me.
well, I've seen some of the young kids that work up with your staff, and they're amazing too, by the way,
Yeah.
and helping you do what you do. And I want to again remind everybody that maybe will watch the video on the replay. All links will be into Dr. Phil what he does. Because I'm telling you, I've been serving stroke community now for going on 9 years. And I have not seen rebuilding people doing like us stroke survivors only dream about walking up and down stairs. Walking up and down stairs. And you're there, and you and your staff are right there helping them. And next thing you know, the market tune it. I'm flabbergasted. That's why I told you, you better watch my speech rate because it may get too excited and begin to speak too quick because I think what you're doing is amazing, Dr. Bell.
Oh, thank you. It's to me it's not something that like I um in a way I don't feel like I have a choice. I feel like
Right.
not to get too spiritual on here, but I believe that God gives each of us gifts. He gives each of us he gives us
Purpose,
pathways. He
purpose,
gives
purpose,
purpose.
purpose,
He
and
gives us
purpose.
plans, and it's our job whether we want to follow it or not. And I think that if I truly am trying to get closer to Him, then what I end up finding is that this is the way I get pulled every time. And it's the way that just makes so much sense. Everything else, there's this cloudiness, everything, but this still has this, it just is so clear. And so and I just keep meeting amazing people like yourself and who see the 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 outcome. They see where this is heading and what this is developing and where we're going. And the biggest thing is that, I mean, so far, the way people have advertised about stroke and even done things has been just from like a government level. but that that's not accessible. In fact, just a little tidbit. I went online, and I took the words off of the main websites for these government websites, and guess what the reading level is? 13th, like grade 13. That
Yeah,
that's college level.
that's way
And
down.
it's and college kids have a hard time. Even myself, when I read it, it takes effort. And the thing is that what I want to bring is no, like this should be something that everybody can understand, and that everybody should feel comfortable and confident and able to ask questions. And even if they're nervous, it shouldn't matter, because really we're all just in this to we're trying to discover who we are. And it just so happens that I happen to have some skills and some abilities that I can help you have the confidence to discover yourself and discover what
Hello.
you want to do and where you want to go. And it's not something that you need to worry about because you have any.
Yeah, I want to fish again. I want to wakeboard. There's a bunch of stuff I want to do. So, believe it or not, I told you it'd go by quick. We're
Oh
actually
yeah.
overtime, but again, I'm going to put all the links to your stuff, and it's amazing to me is that you will help us rebuild our lives of stroke. Thank you for being out there. Thank you for your calling. Because I'm with you. I need a near death experience. So I'm a very spiritual person. Not religious, but spiritual. And I think if you can help my people, sure, I think it's amazing. So thanks again, Doc. Hopefully, I'm really hoping that someday soon you do a event with me, and then we'll do a like 1 hour event,
That would
and
be
we'll
so
get
fun.
you on LinkedIn. I just want everybody to know about you. I think it's amazing. So I was, if you could do me one favor, give me one little golden nugget for us as true survivors that may help us trip neuroplasticity at home. What is the key?
Mm. Okay. It has to do with the word intention. It's intentional movement towards the uncomfortable. So, the intentional movement towards the uncomfortable, the thing you're scared about, the thing you're worried about, the thing you don't want to do, intentionally taking a step in that direction is the best thing that you can do right now. So, if you're
Wow.
worried, you're scared about doing something, well, if you really want to get that change, well, you got to take an intentional step in that direction. Not that somebody makes you do it. Intentionally, you do that regardless of what somebody else is thinking. In fact, her
What
name is Victoria. She's on
I'm
on
curious,
TikTok.
what is your protocol when so intent you say intention? What
Uh-huh.
does that mean, intention?
Intentional means you choose to do something regardless of what anybody else is doing. So what anybody else is telling you. So you choose to do something. So for example, yesterday I got up in the morning and I went on a 3-mile run. Now, I did that not because anybody's telling me to do it, not because I have to do it, not because no, I did that just simply because it's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to get a little bit closer to having better cardio and to feel more confident and powerful. But man, that made me nervous to go out and run 3 miles because I haven't ran 3 miles in a long time. And so it's intentional. It's something that you choose to do regardless of what anybody else says. So for example, Aaron, if If you want to get, if the thing that scares you is walking, then what you figure out is you find something that you know that you can do to take steps. Even if you're having to hold on to something or you have to have somebody right there with you, but you just go, you know what? I'm going to take 15 steps today. That's it. And that's terrifying to me, but I'm going to do it. There you go. You have done something that's an intentional movement in the direction you want to go. So intentional movement,
And
intentional doing whatever it is you want to get better at.
I think it's called the Neuroplasticity Center. I think it's in Oklahoma or somebody like place like that. But neuroplastician told me repetition is a language of the brain. The brain understands you repeat something over and over again. It understands that.
And I'm just going to add to that.
Okay.
Without meaning, like if it doesn't mean something to you, you can repeat it all day long and it won't.
Yeah, that was another element of I didn't mention. Is that, and maybe that's attention. You have a feeling, a passion, like me. For me, it's wanting to fish again. My
Yeah.
left hand doesn't work, but I had a passion for that. I still do. I was a
So the
three handicap golfer when I wasn't playing, when I was a student. Now I'm just handicapped. But it was a near scratch golfer. I want to do that again. So I think people out there, get out of Dutchville, subscribe to his YouTube channel, follow his podcast. I know I'm going to start. I'm so happy I met him. So, Dr. Phil, thanks so much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been a
I'm,
pleasure.
I'm looking forward to working with you more. Thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you.
All right, bye, Dr. Phil. Gotta go.
Okay. Bye.